How's everybody doing? Tinkering with Harleys. I want to thank all of you who have subscribed, and if you're watching these videos and enjoying them, by all means, please subscribe. Last video we did, we were getting ready to rebuild a CV carburetor, so we took everything apart, checked everything out, got the kit reordered, didn't need any new parts. Everything that was in there was good, so today we're going to put it all back together, so we're going to get right to it. Okay, here's our carb. This is the body. All the parts have gone through the parts cleaner. Everything's good to go. Everything's been cleaned up. Didn't find any damaged parts anywhere. So now we're going to get ready to do the reassembly. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the main jet in. That's the emulsion tube and this emulsion tube and this jet. So we're going to get that in now. Now this goes in. You could actually put this one in backwards. You've got a tapered end here and a wide end here. The wide end goes down into the body. So you drop it down there just like that. And then you take the main jet tube or emulsion tube and you just hand tighten it in there. And you make sure that the tube is sticking out there. You see it right there? So that's all good. And we're just going to give it a little, not real tight, just enough to hold it in place. And now we're going to take and put the main jet in. And these you don't crank down on, you just put them in, you just snug them up. Okay, we got that in there, and now we're going to put the low-speed jet in right here. And you just drop it down there like that. And you just snug it up. So now the main jet's in and the low-speed jet's in. Next thing we're going to do is put the adjustment needle in. Now this is all assembled. I got the spring, the washer, and the O-ring on there. So we're going to put this in. And run that all the way down. So it seats that O-ring at the bottom. And now it's seated. And if you look right there, you can see the point sticking there. Now we're going to take and get the needle and seat in. But before we do that, this is something I've always done just to get a little lube in there. I use WD-40. Just kind of helps things slide. It won't hurt a damn thing. But you can use any kind of oil. We get the needle put on the needle put on there. Oops. There we go. There we go. Now it's in there. Now this is, if you remember when I talked about the little arrow right there, I don't know if you can see it. When you take this pin out, you drive it out going this way in the direction of the arrow. When you put this pin back in, you go from the other direction and bring it back in. There we go. I don't know if it's in frame or not. There we go. And you want to make sure that it starts into the other hole so it's even, which we've done here. I can see it started into the hole. And now we're going to set the float level. Okay, so now we'll take our caliper and we'll check the level. Check it on both sides. And that's looking good. So that's all set. So now we're going to take a hammer and very lightly tap this in. And then we're going to check it again. And you just tap it in there real lightly. Yep, that's good. So now we're going to measure it again. That looks good. Perfect. Okay, now that we've got all that done, we're going to start to put the bowl on. And before we get the bowl on, we're going to take and get the accelerator pump boot on there. And before I put the accelerator pump arm on, we're going to put the gasket onto the bowl. And I'm just going to use just a tad bit of white lithium grease, because it seals really well, and I don't want any leaks. And this is just a real light coat that I'm throwing on here. And we'll get this set in place. There we go. Now let me wipe my hands. Now we're going to take and get the accelerator pump arm on there. There we go. And now we'll get this on there. There we go. And set it down. And there is the bowl all together. And now we'll just tighten it up. So we'll get these tightened down. Just like that. Okay. And there's the bowl on. Next thing we're going to put on is the accelerator pump. Okay, now on this model, you know, I've done them with just one hole in there. You always got to make sure you replace these gaskets. So we'll go ahead and we'll get this all sealed up. And it sits in there just like that. Now, if you, yeah, I want to show you something before I do. There's a lip on here. I don't know how good you can see it. That faces down. And then we're going to get our spring. And the spring goes on there just like that. And then you set it in there like that. And get your screws started. Oops. This is why you lay everything out first. You kind of do everything in order. At least this is the way I like to do it. Now everything was cleaned out in this. This went in the parts cleaner. And we cleaned everything out. Everything was checked to make sure everything was straight, nothing bent, nothing worn or broken. So we just needed to get a straight rebuilding kit for this. Okay, and there's the accelerator pump all together. And everything is working good. Now we turn it over and we're going to get to the top here. Okay, now we're going to get the slide in. Now this can only go in one way. Doesn't go in one way, do a 180 with it. Nope, I had it right the first time. And it drops right in there. And then you just seat it. Oops. You just get it all seated in there. And then you take the jet needle and drop it down in there. Get this all seated. Now you take the seat for the spring and you drop that in there and make sure that's straight. And now we're ready to put the top on. So we'll put the spring down in there. Now, this is going on an FXSTD, and this is the only one I'm aware of that you have to do this with. It's the only CV that I know the service manual tells you to put Loctite on these. On the others I've done, it has not done that. Now you have, with this, right here for the, this is for your cable bracket. There's a little dowel right there. And that goes in there, and that's the last screw that goes in. So you get this started like that. And just, well, before we do that, let me double check, make sure this is completely seated. And it is. We'll get the spring down in there. Make sure it's lined up correctly, and down we go. And we'll get these three started. Yeah, the FXSTD, for whatever reason, requires Loctite on these. And the other models that I've done, the other models I've done do not. So that's down there. Now we can take this last one and put it in, because now we can put the bracket on. There we go. That looks a lot better. It slid down over that tab. So we'll get this one in there, just to start to hold it in place. And then we'll get this one in. There we go. And get that tightened down. I could use a power drill, but I don't like to use it on stuff like this. That's just my own personal preference. Okay, that's that. Now the last thing we put in is the enhancer. So, and you want to put the enhancer in facing towards the back. Some people make the mistake and put this in with a wrench. You do like a half a turn after you get it threaded in there, just to make sure it seals. With a wrench. But you just put this in with your fingers. I don't know if you can see it or not. There we go. We're almost down. It's just in a tough place to get to. Okay, and now we'll just give it like a half a turn with a wrench. There we go. And that's it. So that's how you assemble one of these. So this one's all done, all set to go back on the bike. No, it's not. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this, and we're going to put a brass fitting on. So that's going to be the next video. And I would have done it while this thing was all apart, but I haven't gotten the brass fitting yet. It's lost in the mail somewhere. So I want to thank everybody for watching, and until next time, everybody be safe out there.